There are few professions that match the high risk, high reward stakes of sales. For some, this is the best way to true earning freedom, but for others, well, it's never going to be that perfect fit. Today, we're going to talk about the real pros and cons of working in sales, the euphoric ups, the devastating downs, and everything in between. So if you're thinking about joining the sales industry, or just wondering if the profession that you're in right now is the right one for you, then stay tuned. Hi, my name is Will and I make selling simple. Okay, so in today's video, we're going to look at 4 core benefits of working in sales. First off, we've got the money, the moolah, the hard cold cash, and why earning lots of it is so much easier than working in other professions. Then number 2, we're going to look at the safety and why this profession is actually way less riskier than others within the same earning potential ranges. 3, we're going to look at the easiness, not necessarily of the job as a whole, but instead how much easier it is to land clients in a company, in a sales role, versus when you go solo. And finally, the security. Why, if you know what you're doing, you're going to be set with a career for life, no matter what happens to your industry, employer, or anything else in that space. But it's not all flowers and sunshine here. We're also going to look at the downsides of working in sales, which is namely the rejection. Because yes, getting rejection is a given. It happens a lot in this business. And the competition. Because it depends on what you're selling, who you're selling it to, the hierarchy that you're selling into. And we're going to get into the ins and outs of it all. But some positions are bound to be more competitive than others. Okay? So that's an overview of the ins, the outs. Let's jump right into it. So sales is a tricky career, right? Because not everybody is cut out for it. Ambition, confidence, self-discipline, not to mention plenty of grit, they're all required if you want to make it in this space. And if you do have all of these qualities, well, then you've got to tie in long hours, difficult quotas, and a high stress environment, because these are, in most companies, a bit of a given as well. But few other professions carry the enormous benefits of when you're killing it in a sales role. And if you're the right type of person, no other career is going to give you the same fulfillment and control over your on-the-job success. The trick is knowing what to expect in the job beforehand. That way, you can make an informed decision as to whether that sales job is the right job for you. So no lies, no half-truths, no bullshit, and no holds barred. Let's jump in. First off, let's look at the pros of working in sales. And by far, one of the biggest benefits is that it's the quickest way to become a millionaire. Yes, of course, the obvious one, sales can be incredibly lucrative if you've got the talent and if you put in the effort. And when you do have that talent, you put in that effort, and of course, you have a proven selling system to follow. Hitting your quotas and raking in massive commissions, it's not all that difficult to do. And as author and business founder Kent Bisingley told me in a recent sales leadership podcast interview,
sales is one of the professions that you can make an embarrassing amount of money and have so little responsibility.
See, with traditional professions, your salary is capped. Sure, you might get a bonus and a raise every few years, but no matter how hard you work, your end of year pay isn't going to vary that much. But with the commissions in sales, your earning potential is truly, especially if you're in the right company, unlimited. And best of all, your pay is based on your abilities and the effort that you put in. So you're in control of all of this. You're in control of your salary, the hours you work, the effort that you put in, not your employer. And that, for me, is incredibly empowering. The next pro is that working in sales is far less risky than starting your own business. And I'll tell you straight up, having gone from a medical device sales roles to running a sales, media, software, and training company, entrepreneurship can be exciting, but it's also incredibly risky. About 20% of all new businesses fail during their first 2 years of being in business. 45% go under in less than 5 years, and just 35% of all businesses survive past 10 years. A third of companies that start, right, are just going to be dead within just a handful of years. You may make it past this point, but realistically speaking, the odds are stacked against you. But when you work in sales, there are only 2 threats to your livelihood: getting fired or your employer going under. And both are far less likely to occur than a startup, a small business failing. If your company that you work for goes under and you've got a good track record, you immediately get another job. Sales is actually surprisingly secure. Next, it's way easier to land clients and earn money working for a company in sales than it is going solo. Because when you start your own business, you're starting from ground zero. You've got a lot to prove to potential customers that you're worth trusting. And only then will they even entertain the idea of buying from you. And that can end up taking years, decades, just unlimited amounts of time that you're not going to be able to put in if you're in a small business or you're working for yourself. But when you're in a sales position at a company, you can borrow trust from that organization because you are a representative of a company with a proven track record, a history of clients served, and a reputation on its own. Your own trustworthiness will impact your performance. Of course, I want you to create a personal brand. I want you to create micro-targeted bits of content for your prospects to build that trust at distance and at scale. But it's 10 times easier to close a deal when you're working for an established brand than if you're trying to do it yourself. And the final benefit that we're going to talk about in this video is job security, if you know what you're doing. So if you've got the skills and you can close deals and you've got a bit of a track record behind you, you can rest easy knowing that you're always going to be employable. Businesses are constantly, forever in dire need of capable sales reps. And whilst new technologies are going to come along and threaten other professions, buyers, no matter what people tell you within our industry, within our space, they're always going to want to deal with a real salesperson before they spend tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions or billions of dollars on a deal that's important to them. So even if you do lose your position for whatever reason, you're always going to be able to quickly find a new one. You just need to make sure that you develop the skills necessary to make yourself marketable in the space. Skills like we teach over at Selling Made Simple Academy. We teach 30 step-by-step simple frameworks that help salespeople find and close more deals in the next 30 days or your money back. If you're interested in seeing what we do over there and how we can help you, just click the link below this video and come and check us out, or head over to salesman.org and see some of the content that's on there. All right, so we've tackled the perks. Now let's look at the pain points of working in sales. And a quick heads up, we're only going to look at a few downsides here because these negatives can be absolute deal breakers for certain kinds of people. So let's start with downside number one. You have to learn to live with rejection. And rejection, sadly, no matter how good you are at sales, is a given. It just is. So if you're someone who can't handle rejection, you let it get under your skin, maybe a sales job isn't right for you. But you can learn to deal with rejection. We teach that over at Selling Made Simple Academy. Speaker, author, mentor, and sales legend Harvey J. Eisenstadt put it like this in a recent sales podcast.
First, nobody, and I've met thousands of wonderful salespeople in my career, nobody has a 100% closing ratio. That's the first thing. The second is rejection is part of the learning process. If you fail to make a sale, what you've got to do is go back to your office, sit down by your desk, analyze the sales call, and say, not why didn't the prospect buy from me? What you got to say is, how could I have gotten the prospect to say yes? Too many salespeople put the blame on the prospect and not on themselves, and they fail to learn from their rejection.
In this career, you've got to be constantly looking for ways to grow, ways to improve, and ways to get better as well. And if you can't look at a failure and learn from it, you're never going to make it in the sales business. Last up, and this con is a big one for some people, things can get competitive at the middle or the very bottom of the hierarchy. Now, things get very competitive in sales jobs that are selling crappy, middle-of-the-road products. If you're just starting out or can't seem to land a position at the right company, you're going to be working your ass off. Because at the bottom of the selling hierarchy, you're going to be selling commodities. When you move up to the middle of the sales hierarchy, you're going to be working with much better products that people actually find useful and people want to spend time with you to see if it's a good fit for them to buy. But there's a trade-off here. Usually, these products come with lots of competition and it's going to be tough to close whether you're at the bottom or the medium hierarchy of sales companies. But when you can get to the top of a hierarchy, so I'm talking about medical devices, I'm talking about arms sales, I'm talking about $100,000 software installations. That's where you're going to reach the sweet spot. These are the products that change the lives of the people who buy them. These are the products that revolutionize businesses, that take a business from one place to another in one fell swoop with your product, your consulting, and your advice. And these are the most interesting and, of course, lucrative and fulfilling products to sell. So the point here is this: you may have to spend your time working up through different sales roles to get to one of those big, prestigious, incredibly value-adding companies, or at least find ways to make yourself more marketable so these higher-tier organizations want to work with you. And you can do that by developing your skills, expanding your social network, earning credentials that show you can close deals and find prospects and make things happen. And that's it. You get into this feedback loop of, hey, I'm in this job, it sucks, it's fine, it's appropriate, it's okay. You crush it, you move on to the next one. This feeds back into itself. You crush it even more. You feeds back into yourself, you crush it even more. And you're gonna find when you get to the top of the sales pyramid, sales is a great job to be in. It's a great career to have. You've got the opportunity, the potential to make millions of dollars every year. There's multiple people inside Selling Made Simple Academy that are doing over $1 million commissions take home every single year. You can get there as well. You just need to improve your hustle, improve your skills, and get into a company that allows you to achieve those goals. So there we have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not click the video that's on the screen right now and continue making selling simple.